What's going on, everybody? Welcome on in, welcome on in. We are going to be talking about the Jets making two huge trades and playing Madden today, basically, in the trade deadline. This trade deadline is unlike most others, and it actually performed super well, given the Jets decided to play Madden today. So let's get talking about those trades. The first one they made was Sauce Gardner for two first-round picks and a Darnus Mitchell or whatever from the Colts. The Colts get Sauce. The Jets basically get two first-round picks, which I think is a pretty win-win position for both teams. Obviously, Sauce hasn't been the greatest corner this year. He hasn't been up to the standard that he holds himself to, but he still hasn't necessarily been bad on any regards to that, but he just hasn't been quite to the same level. But getting two first-round picks for Sauce Gardner in modern-day NFL is amazing. You don't see that where you make a trade and you get draft capital back like they have in this situation. Usually you get like a fifth or a sixth or maybe a second if you're lucky. But getting two first-round picks for Sauce Gardner, I think, is a huge win for the Jets. But getting Sauce Gardner for the Colts, building on that defense and going all in this year, they have a lot of faith in their team, it seems like. Making this trade, obviously, Sauce is under contract to, I think, 2029. So he's under contract for quite a few years. This is a fantastic trade for the Colts as well. I think this is one of the few AA trades for the Colts and for the Jets. The Jets weren't done there. They traded cue ball to the Cowboys, which is also another fantastic trade for the Jets. They get a second and a 2027 first round pick plus Malik Smith or Malk Smith, whatever. He's a first round pick from a couple years ago. He's been kind of bad, pretty much a bust from the Cowboys. So basically a first round pick in 2 years and a second round pick for next draft, which is fantastic value for a guy who's kind of getting up there in age, eating a lot of contract. You kind of dumped a ton of contract in between these two trades. Not to talk about that, but it's a lot of contract dumping. I think this is a good trade for the Cowboys as well. I wouldn't say it's an A plus or an A. I don't know if cue ball kind of changes much for the Cowboys. They're what, 3-6 now because they lost. So I don't see this trade making that much of a difference where they're going to just completely skyrocket up and really, really compete, even though their division's kind of weak this year, given the fact that Jane Daniels is probably out for the year and the Giants have been gianting it up all season. And they really just have the Eagles to compete with. I don't know if adding cue ball is going to make the Jets a real championship contender, but it is still a fantastic player. They did give up a lot. First and a second round pick plus a player is kind of a decent bit to trade in there, but I don't think it's like anything outrageous to where it's like, oh well, they're gonna get an F. Cue ball isn't worth 2-3 first round picks at the point that he is in his career. He's still really good though. He was probably the best player on that Jets team overall, and then Sauce and maybe like Garrett Wilson would be second and third best. So the Jets have moved off of all that, and they've kept Garrett Wilson for now. The trade deadline has 8 minutes left, so maybe something crazy could happen here in the next 8 minutes. But the Jets have held strong after making those two trades. I think the Jets have won both trades. They get two A pluses, in my opinion. Getting 3 total first round picks, a second round pick for 2 of your better defensive players that you're paying a lot of money. And let's be completely honest, this rebuild's going to take a little bit of time. And both of those guys would have fell out of their prime, or at least cue ball would have fell out of his prime. Sauce might have been able to keep it in there. With corners, it's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes they're good for a really long time. Sometimes they're good for just a small stretch of time, kind of like running backs are. But yeah, I think making those trades, getting all that draft capital is huge. They've understood they're in a position where the team's not good enough to compete now. Might as well just make the trades and try to build for the future and build around your future quarterback, which is why I think keeping Garrett Wilson is a very good decision, because if they finish this year off and they finish it with the number 1 overall pick and they take a quarterback, you're going to want that receiver to throw to. You don't really care if your defense is the Bengals level defense, like, to be completely honest. But I do think for the Colts, it's also an A. Getting Sauce Gardner is a fantastic player, great player to add to that secondary. A very solid team, adding a very, very good player as well. 2 first round picks is a lot, so that's where I'm kind of like, but I still think it's an A. And for the Cowboys, I would say it's a B, B minus, somewhere in that range. I think it's a good pickup, but I just don't know if it makes much of a sense or if it's going to make enough of a difference for their defense this season. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Do you think the Jets won both trades? Do you think they're both even? Do you think the other teams dominated the Jets in these trades and they could have got more assets? Let me know. I'll see you guys in the next video.